Hello. Oh, the reason why this is in my mouth is because I was doing that. I do this all the time. Flick pens. I fiddle with pens. If I drop it, I'm always dropping my pens. My students now pick them up for me because they know I have to have a pen in my hand. I'm always fiddling about. Anyway, I have started a video like this before and stopped, partly because I thought it was just waffle. I thought, who would want to hear this? But actually, I'm going to do this video. I'm going to put it out there. It's a video I'm doing about ADHD. I'm not diagnosed with ADHD. I am 100% certain I've got it. And it's interesting because I'm in my 50s, so it wasn't really talked about, investigated or diagnosed when I was younger. But there's lots of adults now looking into whether or not they've got it, and if that's the way that a crazy little brain works. And if I've just watched a video that I'm going to post in the description, which had me laughing all the way through it because so many of the references were absolutely the way I live. And it's a parody song from for a parody of Under the Sea, called ADHD. I'll link it below. It's really good. But this kind of made me think, I'll do the video. I'll talk about this thing. I phoned the doctors last week to try and get an appointment to start the process. The receptionist started off by saying, I don't think this is something we do. Hold on, I'll check. Then she came back a couple of minutes saying, oh yeah, this is something the doctors do. So you need to phone back. I didn't phone back because I've got ADHD. I wanted to phone back after they'd shut, because that's what happens. The amount of times I need to do something, I need to call someone after, or remember to do something after I possibly can. It's just, tonight I double book myself. I don't always double book myself, so don't treat me as totally unreliable. But the amount of times I have to shift things around, and I'm like, oh no, I'm doing that now, and I panic if I have to organize things. And I do actually organize things a lot. I organize things pretty much. I'm the one that does all the organizing in the band that I'm in. I'm a teacher, so I have to do lots of organizing and planning. And when I was teacher training, I was told that I was told what my best lessons were, and actually they were always the ones that were least planned, the ones that were a bit more spontaneous. There was one lesson where I'd made all these resources. I'd put these booklets out on these different on all the tables for this class, and I felt like really up together. I'd written learning objectives on the board. I was all ready to go. This was an observed lesson as well, so this was one that I was going to get graded for, if you like, during the training. I was all I was all ready to go, and then I suddenly had this awful moment of panic when I looked outside, and all the students that were lining up to come in were a different year group. It wasn't. I had set up a year 8 class, and it was a year 7 class that I had. I mean, I'm not this disorganized anymore, but the thing is, the way my brain works, I told them, hold on a minute, guys, I'll be with you in a moment. And I stripped the tables of all of the resources. I changed the learning objectives. I let them in without those resources, and I did probably the best lesson I'd done that year. And I am so much better thinking on the fly. If I plan or organize something, it ends up being changed because what immediately comes to mind, how my brain sparks off into different directions, is always better. It's always more inspired and interesting, the stuff that comes into my head that hasn't been planned. So it's quite good fronting a band because sometimes things come out of my mouth that aren't planned, and I do talk a lot of nonsense on stage, but it makes people laugh. It's part of the band's personality, the silly things I say in between songs, and I love the more spontaneous things that we do in the songs. I love spontaneity. I love thinking on the fly. I don't like to overplan holidays. We're going on holidays as a family soon, and I don't want to particularly plan it. I want to see what's out there, but I don't want to. I'm going on 2 holidays actually. There's one holiday which I'm going to have a lot more agency about what I personally do, because it's not like a big family thing. And I know there's a few things I want to do, but I'm not going to specify which days I'm going to do them and have like a full-on itinerary. I'm just not going to do it, because it's not the way my brain works. So yeah, it's interesting because on the one hand, I genuinely, definitely don't hear everything that my wife says. It's definitely true. I think sometimes she plays on that a little bit, and she'll just say stuff that she definitely hadn't said. But there's definitely times when she has said stuff, and I just didn't hear it. My mind was somewhere else. I was thinking about other things. And sometimes I can hear that happening, and I can go, "Whoa, hold on a minute! I wasn't thinking about that. What did you say?" You know, that kind of thing. But that definitely happens. I've definitely had to train myself to be more organised in my teaching job, and I have to train myself to be more organised in certain things like the band as well, because it's not natural for me. So I have to work hard at that. But on the other hand, I do forget stuff, and I do have lots of things happening in my brain at the same time. But because of that, I have actually achieved quite a lot, I think. So there's lots that the band's done, which is great. I got my degree while I was working. I was a late university student, so I was a mature student, and I had the 2 kids. I had to pay rent in my own place, and was working about 26 hours a week, as well as doing the degree. And I just got just below a first, so I was really pleased with all that. And I thought it was quite challenging as well to work on one thing for a day. So if I said I'm gonna knuckle down and get some research done for this essay, it was I'd have to keep interrupting what I was doing and doing other things, but ultimately I had to keep coming back to it, make sure that there was progress made and all that kind of thing. So I did that, and as I said, the band's achieved stuff. Over the last 6 years, I've been self-publishing stuff. And, you know, I've been told that the formatting's terrible, and that there are faults in the stuff I put out. But there are also, I'm getting some really good reviews as well. People are enjoying it. And I am proud of those things that I've put out. I am also proud of the things that my current students, my ex-students, and my colleagues at work tell me about my teaching as well. I'm very, very passionate about music teaching. They won't get any other teacher that wants them to love music as much as I do, or love their own ability in music, their own sense of music themselves as much as I do. And I think that because that drives my teaching, I think it's a really important and enriching experience for them. So I am proud of that, even if I had to train myself to get more organised in my first few years of teaching. I'm always doing stuff. I mean, you know, on the channel, there's a reason why this channel has got lots of different personalities. You know, it's a book channel mainly, but I do talk about songs, and I do have live performances in it. And I do talk about TV, and I talk about movies. I talk about philosophy sometimes, and the meaning of life, and how to get the best thing in life, that kind of thing as well. This is a video like that. It's not to do with books, really. It's not to do, I haven't read a book about ADHD. It's not bouncing off that. It was just something that I wanted to talk about, because it's the sort of thing that, well, I think I get quite emotional when I think about the fact that I might have something that is essentially a condition, really, but it's because of the way that your brain works. But there's pros and cons. I don't want medication. If I find out through this process that I have got it, I don't want medication to change who I am or the way I work, but it would explain some things, and I think it would be good for my wife to be told that it's ADHD, not that I just don't care. And that's the thing as well, that you know, I've been upset in the past sometimes when it's appeared that I didn't care in a certain situation. It was just that I had too many things going on in my head to react in the correct way about something, or I wasn't first first responder in a situation, you know, that kind of thing. And sometimes if I get, like say, when my students have a gig, for those 2 or 3 days when you're like just before and just after, I'm absolutely focused on that and I can't think about anything else. And I think that sometimes means that, say, I think recently there was something happening on the same day and I just couldn't, I didn't even think about checking on this person that I wanted to check on, but it just didn't come into my head. And you know, this thing about the flicking the pen, you know, I spent all my life doing this. And, you know, I have very vivid memory of doing this at school and then suddenly looking around and everyone in my maths class was staring at me doing this, like absolutely taking the piss. So that was really young. I was about, when I was probably about 11 when they did that. So, you know, it's always been there. And it just didn't have a name in those days. But I'm going to look into it. It's funny because I can feel myself getting emotional just thinking about the fact that it's addressing something that is worth looking at. I wrote a song called A Jigsaw Song. The third verse, if I'm feeling low about myself, the third verse is really hard to sing. So the first verse is, I wish I was wise, I wish I was better. I wish I did everything. Hold on. I wish I was wise, I wish I was better. I can't even, you have to sing it, I can't even say it. I wish I was wise, I wish I was better. I wish I did all that I could. I wish I did all that. I can't remember. I can't remember the words. I'd be able to remember if I was going to sing it, but I'm not going to get the guitar. I wish I was on top of the rubble. Oh, I wish I did all that I could. Anyway, the third verse, the one that really gets to me sometimes. It's a very personal song, but it's probably my most popular song. But the third verse is, my life is amusing, my life is chaotic, my life is ahead of itself. My head is a jigsaw. My head is a sketch. My head is no good for my health. And that line really just hits me sometimes because it isn't always best for my health. It's not always best for my responsibilities and what I need to do and to make the people around me know how much I love them and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm going to look into this. I'm going to have a look, see what happens. If I get some kind of confirmation from some sort of process with the doctors that says that I've definitely got ADHD, it will explain lots of things. I think I can celebrate what it's given me as much as I can explain some of the issues. I wouldn't have done what I've done in my life without it, obviously. This high-functioning hyperactivity thing is related. The fact that I don't sleep a lot and can function very, have a lot of energy and function very well with little sleep is linked, I think. But we'll see. I certainly have a lot of the signs. So, you know, squirrel.